Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to Zolder for the iGPFun Formula 3 Championship presented by VRS. I'm Austin. I'm joined by the one, the only, the super Italian himself, Marco Barbanera, and we're here for a wonderful race around one of the most underrated racetracks in Formula cars, but one of my favorite racetracks, Circuit Zolder, and it's going to be a great day here. Marco, how are you feeling? And yeah, just how you feeling? How are we doing here today?
Well, I have to tell you, Austin, very pumped. This is going to be a very, very exciting and tough race for these drivers. This racetrack...
Indeed.
Yeah?
Indeed, it will be. This track famous for its DTM racing, and Zolder very famous for chicanes and missed braking points. But these chicanes are going to be providing a lot of tough challenges. If you're up in front, you're probably going to be very off, but throughout this field, it's going to be a very tight race because these chicanes, a lot of hard braking going into there. You could send one down low, but it's a very tight racetrack to do so. So, going to be very hard to pull away of a gap. Turn 1 is going to be very important for these drivers.
Absolutely. The track is narrow, and one would think that there's not going to be a lot of passing spots, but these chicanes, Austin, they are absolutely... I mean, look at this one, the first one. The small chicane, they call it. Let's go up top with the car. How narrow it is and how steep, tight the angle. Like, it's a very sharp left-right, and if you, by God, make a mistake, go a bit too deep into that, and those curves will kill you.
Yeah, the second chicane as well. It looks like a mini Ascar, but with banking on the apexes, it's very, if you're going hard into there, it's very easy to actually get up onto the curb and spin around. Then they got a nice opportunity after that when you head into the hairpin, and that is a good opportunity for an overtake. And then you got a little bit of a S-curve chicane right there, and then it's the final chicane, a lot deeper of a chicane. As we ride on board of Gavin Petty as he takes us through the S's right now under the EXQL Sport Bridge, slowing up. You usually be braking at the end of this barrier right here, and then it's the final chicane. Very possible to make a move right here because you have to readjust yourself. Then it's onto the front straight, and this is where we're going to be seeing most of our overtakes coming out of that corner onto this front straight and into turn 1. This is a very fast turn 1, but it's very easy to go out to that miles of runoff. This is also the end of the first sector right now as we're looking down into that little chicane.
And also, one thing that's important to notice, I think this is the narrowest front stretch in all of iRacing. I mean, if you exclude the road courses, but if you see the cars going past the start-finish line, there is no buffer zone. If there is a crash at the start of the race, you are probably going to be going into the wall. Yes, exactly. And so, gotta be super careful there. Let's see, Pagotto trying to improve on his lap as cars are heading for the final few seconds. Checkered flag already waving in the air here in Zolder. And here we go. Pagotto. I tell you what, Pieniasek is having a fantastic lap. Pagotto doesn't improve, but Pieniasek will, 100%. No, that's why I'm not a betting man. You know what?
well, even in here, we're not a betting man. Even in our endurance races, where we put it on pole, our odds were high, but you had me on your team. We only lasted 5 minutes. With me not even getting into the car.
You know, Austin, it's like that famous promo from Scott Steiner. The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for us when you are racing in our team.
100% of DNFs in the first 20 minutes. So I believe I'm banned for the Apex Racing commentary team.
Here comes Lackner, doesn't improve, he goes 22.5, his best was a 21.8, and only one driver currently on a lap, which is Alexander Roggenbuch, and he heads straight for this very peculiar looking pit entrance, Austin.
I've seen some disasters heading into this pit lane. It's right after a braking zone, and I'm not sure if you're going around any endurance races, but when they come here, we've seen some stuff that's just like, hey, if you're going into the pits, you take that inside line, you just try to clear the guy in front of you. It's the scariest thing in the world. But qualifying is over. Gianfranco Pagodo takes pole. It's an Italian 1, 2, and 3, followed by Francesco Meola and Max Bartola in third place. Tiago Marteo in fourth, followed by Alex Dunn, Lucas Lackner, Vinciardo Cardetti, Ben White, Samuel Hermer, Caitlin Height, Clark Williams, Luca Ferrari, Michael Podozek, Premslav, Piesnek, Mac Giacchino, Gavin Petty, Fernando Corres, and Stuart Millen in 18th, followed by Jay Elliott, Lucas Maruk, Bartosz Gliseski, Daryl Governor, Zoltan Zoboter, Will McIntyre, Antonio Tellez, Dave Martin, Andy Flint, and Thomas Bonakia, Johan Bergeson, Alex Hawkins, Zachary Beeson, Antonio Brzeski, the Pink Cat in 32nd, followed by Chuck Morrow, Clemens Puzzle-Gruber, Rod McGuire, Richard Veen, Steve Rubens, Wojtek Podozek, Sean Barnett, Nick Carty, James Luis, Nick Arnoldson, Kujiado, Adam Talsma, Russell Kirkwood, Arden Devine, Dirk Brovley, JJ Gonzalez, and 48th, followed by Reed Dennis, Andrew Morris, Rodrigo Caponito, Patrick Rollins, Alexander Robinbook, Flavio Dantes, and Felipe Dantes in 54th and 55th at the end of this grid. So the Dantes brothers starting right together. And I'm going to be honest, a few of these drivers might be a little bit off their game. They might just be seeing Daytona in their mirror and still a bit used to that track. So some of these drivers might not be up to 100% today. I know Alex Dunn was racing in Daytona for a while, so some of them got a little bit sports car in them right now. So the 5 red lights are coming on, and it's green, green, green here at Zolder. It's a great start by Lucas Lackner, who already gets ahead of Alex Dunn as they're going to go side by side for the lead, almost 3 wide as Bartola is trying to poke his nose into there as they head into, and we got a massive hit from Bartola into the gravel, as well as Francesco Meola. Lucas Maruk also had an incident as well, but it's Gianfranco Pagodo leading out Martineau and Dunn, our top 3. Cardetti following Lackner and White. Height, Hermer, Verani, and Podozek, our top 10. And off into the gravel is some more chaos in the opening turns.
Massive chaos, and now we get for the first time to the first chicane, Austin. This is the trouble spot. Oh, there we go, massive wreck.
Oh my goodness. And the iGPFun rules are, you know how we usually say 0 days without a first lap incident? Well, reset that clock. And these chicanes were a big talking point. Another big group heading into the mini Ascari, as I like to call it. And just a small swapping of paces. Oh no, Podozek loses it on his own right there.
Yeah.
He goes into the wall. Heading into the final turn.
We are very much aware that Alex Dunn is from the lovely Republic of Ireland, and he has been on our timing tower with the correct flag for the past few months. I don't know why today it showed as UK, so apologies for that, and it got promptly fixed as I was commentating, by the way. I think they should get I should get a raise from Apex, Austin.
Well, honestly, you do a great job commentating, you do a great job on the cameras, and you do a great technical support job as well.
Oh, speaking of Alex, he went a bit in the grass, second. But he went wide, and now he's going.
Oh, he's looking down the inside. Alex Dunn sends it into the tiny chicane, and Alex putting in a great move up into second place. That was a risky move by Alex. Very late die, but man, he made it work out. And Gianfranco Pagodo leading out 2 seconds ahead of the young Alex Dunn. Can he continue to stay in front of him? We'll find out throughout this race. 33 laps here today. Very short track, so a lot of laps lined up for us here. And lap traffic is going to be very big, especially with that massive multi-car incident we had at the start.
Absolutely, Austin. A short lap. As you were saying, these narrow chicanes, so easy to get things wrong and have a misunderstanding with a lap car. The drivers will have to use all of their experience in order to, have the best race possible and not you know, run into each other and run their own race. But as we know, it's much easier said than done.
Well, if they were running in Daytona, they did have a little bit of traffic simulator practice with that, depending on which car that they were in. So I know me running the GT3 was more like screaming in pain practice. As we're looking down through the field, Kardashian in 4th, Blackner in 5th, followed by Height, White, Elliott, Grzycki, and Piesnak in 9th and 10th. Alex Dunn has still got Martio right behind him. And looking down through the field, Clemens Punzengerber and Alex Hopkins having a nice fight for 21st right now. As Dunn and Tiago are being a bit of a fight right now. Tiago had a big send to that final corner, trying to close the gap in the braking zone on Alex Dunn. Let's ride on board with the Irishman ahead of Tiago.
Oh, we have an issue, big issue.
Oh, Grzycki is off into the wall. I think he's hit the outside curbing and got into the gravel right there, just spun himself into the wall. And speaking into the gravel, Piesnak also went into the gravel right there, as Giacchino passes him for 10th.
Yeah, so he's up into 10th place, the Italian driver, as we are heading once again. Oh, look, you know, drivers like to extend the track limit there, but it's really very, very tough to do, as you see Grzycki.
Oh, we got 3 wide, and look at that rear wing just dancing on the straight.
Yeah, poor Grzycki, of course, crashed after pit entrance, so he has to do another full lap, and if we go on board with him, you will see the... we have the dancing dots of doom, and now we also have the dancing rear wing of doom.
Dancing rear wings of doom, and you know, the return of the Italian rear wing is back.
Here we go with
Giacchino's
under attack. Oh, Alex Dunn made a mistake.
Oh no, Dunn's
Where
off.
Is he?
He's off in the grass.
The cameraman trying to find him desperately.
Oh, there's more chaos behind him. 2 cars made a collision in that chicane as well, and that's Elliott down. Jay Elliott. I'm not sure if his first name is just Jay for me.
Let's see if he hit the wall or not. Let's see what that was.
There was a 2-car collision, but Dunn, I think he's just hit the curb on corner entry, spun it off, too much mustard, and then there was a separate incident right behind him with Jay Elliott.
There he is. Ooh.
And oh wow, that was a rough one right there.
I think that Alex Dunn
contact with.
Alex Dunn carries okay, and now Carchedi with big issues. Victim of the first chicane, unfortunately. And
little chicane takes another one, and he actually throws something off and over the barrier, so he's got no nose at all on that Formula 3 car. Going to be very hard to keep that thing under control, as he sits in 15th place and has to deal with that final chicane as Elliott makes his way into the pits now. Very unfortunate for Alex Dunn right there, and a lot of these drivers, but the one who's looking the best right now, Gianfranco Pagotto, new fastest lap of the race, 1:22.36 last time by, and currently leading by 4.6 seconds. That's what qualifying up front will do for you. Just going to be avoiding a lot of the stuff through that chicanes, and oh my goodness, at the back of that shot, somebody just went off. I believe that was Dantas Bravli going off in the hairpin.
Yeah, mostly Dantas, as Carchedi, you can see, enters the pits, but look at Gianfranco Pagotto. You are spot on as per usual, Austin. You know, the more cars you can put behind you in qualifying, the less chance of having drama appear in front of you have during the first few laps of the race. And so the leaders are absolutely enjoying some nice clean air, and
unless it's us in Daytona. But,
well, of course.
You know.
It has to be said that, you know, our lovely colleague Sam Fitzpatrick botched the start and lost a couple of positions straight away.
So blame Sam and not me.
Of course. I mean, yeah.
But statistically, you're blaming me.
And maybe that mistake that Alex made goes to show and explain what you were saying earlier, and I think it's true for a lot of these drivers. It is absolutely, apart from the curves, but also the fact that some of these drivers, a good percentage of them, I would imagine, have literally just finished Daytona, and Daytona, remember, started 4 years later than expected. So instead of having yeah, like a good rest, basically it was for them finish the race, little bit of a debrief, quick dinner if you are in European time, and then it's already back into the car to get into the session here, because of course, as you know, limited seats available in this series, and so
yeah, the session opened up actually an hour after Daytona 24, and with just about that session really being available to sign up with the amount of people that want to go into the session side by side, Ben White and Alex Dunn. White holding down that inside line, but here comes Alex off that exit, already back onto the gearbox of Ben White, looking down to the inside. Dunn and White side by side they go. Can the young Irishman go down the inside? He sends one into the hairpin. A little bit of a move over in front of the wing of White. Alex Dunn's back into 5th.
You know what I was thinking, Austin? There is on Saturday nights, there is a bit of a power vacuum in our 3.5 series, and some of these drivers, I think, would be perfect fit for that championship, you know?
Yeah.
And if you want to jump into the official F3.5 series, every Saturday at 22 GMT, we are streaming it. So, I mean, I don't know.
It's one of the top SOF races in all of iRacing, too.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, at an average I rating of 4.6K, a few of these drivers in here will definitely make that field. And that Formula 3.5 car is a big boy compared to these cars.
We go with Dan, who had a little bit of a moment coming out of turn 1. Ben White closed the gap on him, but then he wasn't able to bounce. Lucas Lackner and Katie Height, they are having a fantastic race, Austin, sitting on the podium right now, and Thiago Marteux is confirming what we thought about him in his first few appearances in this championship. He is race-winning material. He's holding a comfortable 2nd place right now. Of course, Pagotto is running in a league of his own, but we have fights all over the field. Premisław Pieniaczek and Max Giacchino are still... Austin, you bamboozle me into not even being able to pronounce the names of my fellow countrymen. I was about to say Giacchino, like you say. I hate you, like, with a passion.
Hey, don't blame me for not knowing Italian, okay? You're the one supposed to be teaching me, not adopting the way I say things.
We'll go on board with Premisław, as he's following closely the Italian driver. Two relatively new faces to the championship, both you know, establishing themselves as top 10 threats. And like I say every time, top 10 here is not easy, considering we have 60 drivers on that.
Yeah, top 10 is like trying to get onto the podium.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like a podium and a special award. I made top 10 in iGPFun. And that is just a very insane, and ooh, deep on the brakes goes Pretzel! Almost getting into the back of Max right there. Ooh, very heart and mouth moment right there.
Very, very close moment indeed. Let's see some of our victims in the first lap. One of them was Francesco Mella, down 25 spots. He's trying to make his way back. Now he's following closely on Martin Devine. And he's about
He's got a good run. He's got a good run off that exit, going around for the outside, trying to go deep on the brakes, and he's already got him in there. And yeah, put it on 2nd place on that front row. And it's just, it was a very hard-fought front row. Max Bartola went down the inside of him, and they just made contact right there. So we got a good replay of Max, and he had an amazing start. Went down the inside, but just not that much room, and off they go into the gravel.
I can tell you one thing. They won't be having a pizza together after the race.
Oh no. Dang you, Marco, you're making me hungry already. It's only 10 laps into this.
I already had one a couple of hours ago.
I had one like in the middle of the Daytona 24 hour, and I still have some in the fridge, so I know what I'm going to be eating immediately after this, and watching a good football game. As Premslaw got still behind Max Giacchino. As that orange Italian looking on the outside of Premslaw in that hairpin. Looking for a good switchback move right here. Still staying in the draft. As they head through the S's and into that final chicane. Looking for the outside move. They're going to be side by side. Deep on the brakes goes Premslaw. Max, you want to try to go for a side by side move? Just dancing on the gearbox of him.
Going for the move once again, but it's turn one, more of a setup corner, I would say, and basically you have to keep your cars close to your chest, I would imagine, before then going for a move later down the road, possibly here. But then again, Austin, so difficult. I mean, let's be honest, if you want to make a move around here, you need to force your way through, and if the other car doesn't comply a bit. Oh! This is not the first time that Premslav has gone very deep on the brakes, huh?
Yeah, second time in a row we saw him get very deep on the brakes, and you know, it might just be a little bit lack of judgment, a little bit too much adrenaline right there. Maybe his brakes are not up to scuff, and maybe he's just used to going a little bit deeper and harder on the brakes or lighter on the brakes compared to a GT car. Because remember, some of these guys have been up for a long time getting used to whatever car that they were driving, GT3, GTE, or LMP2, and I know all of them have a little bit different braking style compared to a Formula 3 car. So we got another side-by-side battle. Very action-packed. Antonio Brzezinski trying to go down the inside of Andrew Morris right there. Went very defensive. Actually, no, conservative, and didn't want to send a move on Andrew Morris heading to that chicane. And he's just going to stay on the gearbox of Andrew as they continue to go on.
We should have a 24-hour race with this car in Daytona. It is possible.
Yes.
Lights all around. I've done races in the night at Daytona with the AI. With open wheel cars, and the visibility is pretty good.
Yeah. A 24-hour race that I really want to see, that is probably not ever going to be asked for, as here we go, Brzezinski looking down the inside of turn one. Very tight to make a move around there, since the faster line is off that outside line, as Podozek's going to try to get on Brzezinski. He goes down low. Podozek's got a good run, and Podozek's up into 42nd. Brzezinski is under trouble, I guess.
No. Where is he?
Under trouble, and now even in more trouble as he's off into the wall.
Poor Antonio Brzezinski.
I
think he needs to go back to the older livery. I still maintain this. Even though I think it was not on him this time.
Yeah, it's just car down the inside was 24. Was that Tiago?
No, that was someone.
I think that was a 24. But it's not Rosess. It's not Kirkwood. It was a lapped car.
It was Nick Carty, probably. No, it wasn't. Apologies, Nick. Who was that? Well, we'll never know.
That was bizarre. Let's take a look at. Let's take a look at Tiago in second place. I want to be sure, because
no, it was. It looked like.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't. It had a 2
No,
in it.
It looks like Samuel Ermer's car, but it's not him. It's the other car that looks a lot like him, but I cannot put my... It's not the one with the duck, it's the one with like that... some sort of a wave or dragon or something in the same style as what we had. As we have an off... Oh, and Alex Dunn.
Oh no.
Alexander made a move on Katie Height up into 4th place. That was Alexander Rogen going wide. Let's get a replay of this pass while we are here.
Done behind Caitlin Height, staying in that draft, getting a good run coming out that corner, staying in the draft now, getting some speed, looking down to the inside, side by side, they go to the slow car down the inside, deep onto the brake. Brakes and woo, swings it in there. Alex Dunn, what a move for 4th place. I thought we were saying, oh no, after seeing a car off. I thought Alex Dunn was off again, but man.
That was Rogenbuch that just come back on the track. And now for Alex is already time to think about hunting for the podium spot, because he's right in the gearbox of Lucas Lackner. He might go for a move here on the inside, Austin at the hairpin. Oh, he goes very deep, but he makes it stick.
Woo! Alex Dunn back into the podium. And I can tell you, some of his supporters actually surprised that he's still awake. But when racing in your blood, it's just like that extra kick of energy that you need. Who needs caffeine when you got horsepower?
Why can't you have both?
Because if you're Alex Dunn, you'd probably just be moving around and bouncing up in your seat. You can't go back to bed. I remember when I was 14. Oh,
Lucas Lackner. He was sitting in 4th. And now he's dropping like a stone down to 8th. I wonder what happened to him. It was in the first corner. Remember, Alex Dunn has just
car might have been on his inside. It might have just gone deep, or there was a car on his inside. I think it was just a going deep move, and oh, he's just too much mustard going into there and then off into the gravel. Now back to what I was saying about giving caffeine to a 14-year-old and racing at the same time. When I was karting, when I was 14, going for my 2nd Texas karting championship, I did have a little bit of a caffeine rush and an energy rush, and let me tell you, I was a hyper kid. And it was probably the worst mistake my parents allowed me to ever have.
You know, here in Italy, basically, the legal drinking, no, not legal, you start drinking coffee in the, basically, yeah, as soon as you're born, no? So at a certain point...
I'm banned for coffee in my house.
At a certain point you get almost like... you don't have any kind of effect as Bartolotta gets past McIntyre. Like, my average daily intake is 6 or 7 espressos, minimum, not average, minimum.
My goodness.
Oh, we're Italian. Pizza, pasta, and coffee.
Yeah. I'm not the one stereotyping you. You just did that. No, for me, you do 6 to 7 cups of coffee. I have about 6 to 7 cans of Coke sometimes, especially during a Daytona 24-hour.
Kenyazek and Clark Williams. And once again, Premislav is super deep on those brakes, and he has the pace, Austin, but I think his aggressive braking is costing him a lot because he gets close to the opponents.
It also might just be because he's in the draft. He doesn't have enough downforce to help slow him down heading into these corners. So the draft taking a lot of dirt, taking a lot of that smooth air away. He's got a lot of dirty air. Not a lot of downforce on that car when you're back behind another one. So that also might be another case as well as the Daytona 24 hours. But after 17 laps, he should be adapted to that car by now. But he is going very deep on the brakes, and the only stat that we have that him going deep on the brakes is always behind another car, as Johan Bergeson looking down to the inside, looking back for the switchback on Andy Flint in this battle for 14th now as they head down to the front straight. Johan He's buried in there. He's looking down low. Side by side, they're going to go. Heading into turn one. Who's going to be the last late breakers? Bergeson looks down low. It's a very slow corner by both of them. Wanting to give each other room. Bergeson, Flint still side by side. Heading into that long turn two. Round the outside goes Johan Bergeson up into 14th. But here comes Andy Flint. He's not going to make a move into turn three.
Let's see. We might have found the culprit.
Oh, it was Johan.
Maybe, eh? I already started apologizing to him if it was not him. No, it was not him.
Alright.
Who was that? I still... Well, back live. Back live because we have a problem for Clark Williams.
Oh, no, he's off and he's got... I think that's... I don't think he has suspension yet. I think it was just deep, but Clark Williams down into 16th, and if Zoltan can get on to the loud pedal a little bit sooner, it would have been down to 17th. And I think it was just a missed breaking point.
No, it was not him, because here it was Johan Wolf and Antonio Rossetti was here. Oh. No, that was Samuel Ermer.
It was Samuel. And Rossetti is...
I don't know why, it didn't look like his duck there on the side of the car, but it was. It was. And Samuel Ermer, of course, is trying to come back after a disaster of a start in his 20th, so... yeah, that was apologies to everyone, because I think we have pointed the finger, relatively speaking, at more or less
5 different drivers.
Half of the field. It's not no, it's not finger pointing. It's just, you know, while guessing at the livery, you know, with 60 cars sometimes.
Just be glad that we're not race stewards.
Yes. So Bartolotta, another driver involved in a mess at the start. Well, he made contact with his fellow Italian in third one, and basically this caused everyone to take evasive action. It was himself and Francesco Meola. Now he's up into 24th, whilst Francesco Meola there is trying to catch back to Samuel Ermer. He's in the back end of the top 20 as Lucas Lachner and Max Giacchino. Max Giacchino is really coming back strong, and now +8 from his starting position, and you can see the lapped car of Luca Varani. We don't say that very often. There at the front. Oh, see, I'm also a very good professional. I'm not showing shots of Luca despite sponsoring him, you know, because he's a lap down, and so, you know, the interest of the viewer comes before my own interest.
Yeah, so the viewer definitely up there, and we got some great fights up here at the front. We ride on board Max Giacchino heading into Lucas Lachner. Almost gets into this gearbox right there, but Lachner and Max still nose to tail of each other as they start to deal with some of these lap cars.
Jacek goes past Antonio Jimenez-Tellez and gets the job done, imagine, but here comes Antonio. Back! Oh no! Ouch.
Tellez off after getting airborne, heads into the wall.
Hold on to your seat, because this is going to be quite the ride, Austin.
This isn't SpaceX, but this is a good attempt at a space launch right here. Side by side, there's room on the inside, but not so much. He got airborne, and now he's got some floor damage as well after getting up into the air, so that car's not going to be looking good on that straight. But downforce-wise, he does have all the equipment bits there, but the floor-wise, that's not good.
Francesco Meola, fastest lap of the race. What could have been for him and for Max? Very, very unfortunate. Will McIntyre is about to put a move on, or attempt to do so, on Dirk Provely. Here he goes on the inside. Side
by side they go. Here comes Will. And he get it before the corner starts? Yes, he does. Will McIntyre up into 25th.
No, we have drivers from the Netherlands. We have drivers from Luxembourg. We have no drivers from Belgium.
America.
Yeah, but we have no drivers from Belgium today.
Huh.
Representing Luxembourg is of course Thiago Martiu, there he is. And we just saw the Dutchman himself, of course, Dirk Proveli.
Caitlin Height is up in the 4th right now, which is absolutely fantastic.
She has been on and off participant of this series. I remember her in the Euro V8 Championship. It was, of course, my first ever series that I commentated. As Pieniaczek goes past Fernando Núñez Correas. Fantastic stuff from Katie here, and she has put herself in a very good position with around 6 seconds of advantage over Stuart Milne, who's having a beautiful race himself with 13 places gained on the starting position, and of course he's also having a good gap over Lucas Lackner. Let's take a peek at Luca Varani, because he's in a fight for 30th place with Thomas Bonacina. There he goes. He was involved, if you remember, in that crash in the first lap. He got wiped out.
Luca is actually looking for a nice switchback move here on Tomas, and he's got a good run, but couldn't do anything in turns 1 and 2. But if he gets a great run here, he might be able to make something worth of it heading into that little chicane. But Tomas just takes that so nicely, and it's going to be another corner for Luca just to try to get closer and closer to him, and just probably wait for a little bit of mistake. There was a small mistake right there, but we got a battle for 6th place now. And oh no, Lackner!
I mean, we have, because Lackner went off at the chicane.
Lackner in the wall. Giacchino and Lackner were side by side, so they might have made a little bit of contact.
Yeah, and so this is basically another you know, for poor Lucas. He was having a good race, but he then made a couple of mistakes. Let's see what happened here. Oh, he was just behind. We were just looking behind. We were just in front. No, it was just a curve. So we were sitting on board with Luca there, and Luca was just in front of this accident. Panzengruber, I should say, and Andy Flint with Clark Williams following behind. We also have this fight between Samuel Lerner, Alex Hopkins, Chuck Mauro, and Francesco Meola. There he is, Samuel Lerner, the flying duck on the inside. Gets the job done. And now Francesco Meola will go for it as well. On Hopkins, the Englishman, side by side. And he makes the move stick.
Indeed he has, and I just realized I was on push to talk because my nieces are here.
Now we can look back at Thomas Bonacina, who has just been overtaken by Luca Varani, and you can see this absolutely astonishing sponsor of this car.
I knew there's always a point in the broadcast where you just go, I've got to look at myself. And this is why I haven't put somebody underneath the night banner yet today, because if I did, you would never show him. And Lucas Lackner looks down the inside of Ben White.
You know,
continue on.
A very famous Italian politician of the past said that power consumes those who don't have it. I have the power, the camera, you don't, so live with it.
Okay, Emperor Palpatine. Lackner goes down the inside, gets a little bit bump on the curb. Now we got a car down the inside, stopped at the exit of the pit exit. Lackner and White nose tail, and Lucas Lackner barely skates by, getting into 10th place. Now up ahead, we have Fernando Corraz and Dave Martin in the battle for 8th. Martin looks down low. I think he's just showing him the nose and not really going to go for the move, heading into that tiny chicane. You know, the Skip Barbers are here this week as well, but they're on the alternate layout, and the alternate is just like the same layout, but without that final chicane. You have that early turn-in, which is... Oh, no!
That's Reed Dennison, I think.
Hard into the wall.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Austin, you make me think about... you know, the alternate layout is not very well, when you use it, it's not very well signaled, no? So
no, it's just a sudden turn.
It's not uncommon for drivers to take the normal chicane and then realize, you know, after a bit of practice, you know, guys, you know, there's basically, again, if you don't know it, and you know, it's so rarely used in iRacing that a lot of drivers jump in. Oh, look at that, we had Zolder this week, and then they start taking the normal line.
They do the regular line and the regular break point, and the person the person who's usually me who takes the adapted braking point for there, which is not that much of a braking point, so it's pretty much the same place, just a little bit earlier. I found myself getting rear-ended every time here compared to the Formula 3, where everyone's taking the regular one because it's the regular chicane. But I wanted to say that Skip Bar, if you hit one of these curbs off, you get some airtime.
You know, the only thing that you know, let's say that variant is pretty pointless, as Lucas Lackner again.
Oh no, that's a multiple
race.
class. There's another car off as well.
That
was in the wall.
I think Gruber or Divine. I think it was Divine.
It was Divine.
Oh.
Yeah, there's Divine coming back out onto the track, and Lackner, I guess, just came into him.
The only good thing that alternate layout is good for is rolling stars, which are much better.
This is true.
I remember commentating on a series as Pagotto.
Yeah, so do I. It was here.
And I remember that the organizer.
It was the Rickman-Tech series. It was the Rickman-Tech series.
They were using that layout because it was better for the rolling start.
Yeah, it was the Rickman-Tech GT Championship that we were commentating on that went here.
I don't know if you noticed, but Pagotto was almost wiped out by a lap car. That car behind him, which I think is Bartoloppa, yeah, went into the braking area of the hairpin, locking wheels, and he almost had contact with Pagotto.
Might have been some Italian on the radio.
You know, you see, the fact that I don't have, that I cannot have the radio on because then everyone hears it in the broadcast consumes me greatly, because I'm sure I'm missing some fantastic stuff as Alex Dunn is taking evasive action because there was a car parked on the curb. I think that was Richard Van Veen.
That's scary to see. Let's rattle more of Alex.
You're taking your racing line and then, oh, you head for the curb. And that is the racing line, and then all of a sudden, you have to
that
go
is the scariest moment in when you're driving around a blind corner, off corner exit. You can't see past through the corner because there's usually a wall there. And right where you're going, not a lot that you can do. You can't really slow up. And just be glad that there's runoff right there. Even if it's gravel, that could have been disastrous for Alex Dunn. But very smart to avoid him, and very good to keep his car straight, as Puntegruber and Chuck Morrow side by side for 19th.
Yeah, it's absolutely not easy to keep the car stable on the gravel and grass in racing, especially as of late with the new grass and tire model that has been, you know, I think
ice.
Yeah, it is realistic to expect, I think, for the next build, the 3D grass, which will be a bit more nicer to look at, but I don't think it's going to change the actual grip of the grass, which, you know, If you think about, just imagine that the grass is a bit damp, and then it will make sense. Now, of course, when you go off...
You're also in slicks, too, so slicks don't really grip up the grass. I know the skippies, they have actual tread in the tires, so it's a little bit easier for skippies to drive in the grass than Formula 3. But the slick tires just have no grip on anything other than tarmac.
The flying duck, we are missing the rocket turtle today.
Yeah.
I haven't seen...
Talisman?
No, I'll think about it. It's not Valdemar, it's the other very good Brazilian driver. Oh dear. Well, I'll go to the driver list.
Here.
Let's see, the flying Brazilian, Rocket Turtle himself. Drum roll, please. Luciano Lorenzo, of course, is not here. The Rocket Turtle. Especially because Adam Talisman is Canadian and not Brazilian, Austin. As you can see right here. Silence befalls upon the commentary box. As Austin furiously checks his globe map. And we look at Max Bartolotta, trying to catch back to cars in front, which is Alex Hopkins, but also has to look behind Chuck Mauro, who is just gone past. In the meantime, heading into turn 1, Tejas, Flint. Oh no! There's a bit of a traffic jam on the curb once again, Austin. No?
And there's a traffic jam coming off the curb as well. You got a slow car right there, and Ben White had to take evasive action to avoid that slow car, and that's the 21 Ben White had to take evasive action to get past that car right behind him. Now as they're heading into the little chicane, this is a very tightly fought fight with 4 laps to go here at Zolder.
Done with the fastest lap of the race at 21.5, so I mean, we knew it already, but this car is feeling pretty good despite the speed.
And he just set the new fastest lap of the race, 1:21.58 for Alex Dunn.
I'm deeply offended because I just said that. So, no Austins allowed, even in the commentary box now.
But both you and I know that there's a football game on my other screen.
The professionalism by... Oh! No! Samuel Hermer using Francesco Meola's rear end as a launching pad, and this time he paid the price. Let's see the replay. Slow car on the inside.
And there was a 3 wide, and then, oh no!
Can we say not the best round for Samuel Hermer?
Yeah, definitely one that he wants to forget.
But Gianfranco Pagotto, my goodness, he's having a fantastic race at the front today. Look at the time comparison with second place, the excellent Thiago Marteau from Luxembourg. He is absolutely running away. Lap 26 was a bit of a mess, but probably some traffic. But apart from that, he has been absolutely on a roll. And again, this is fighting traffic, not only fighting the clock. He has gained 11.5 seconds as all things considered. Thiago Marteau is also enjoying a good run. He is losing quite a bit compared to Alex Dunn, but he has a very nice cushion of 9 seconds. So Austin, unless something crazy happens, Thiago should be safe. And
yeah, he should be safe. And it's even if there's cars in front of him, and he has to take a very evasive action as Premslaw gets down to the inside after a very big charge off Fernando Corres. He jumps up into 8th place. next week is going to be very crucial because it's going to be a stark contrast to Zolder, which has a lot of nice runoff. We're going to be heading over to Detroit Belle Isle, which that street circuit is very tough to get right, especially in these cars. And if there's a mistake, there's usually price to pay with a concrete wall and your car into it, and maybe a loss of wheels. So Detroit going to be very difficult for these drivers next week.
The contact between Meola and Hermer was wheel to wheel, so thankfully Meola doesn't have any rear wing damage on that car. Remember, as per usual, we are getting double dose of Detroit because, of course, on the Saturday we're going to have the official series to whet your appetite, so to speak, and then, of course, on Sunday the big one, full 60-something car grid around Detroit. That's going to be a challenge, I would say. You were right, Austin. Narrow track, very bumpy, and destiny that can, you know, you can have a perfect race like Gianfranco, and then it only takes a slight lack of concentration, and it's game over for you. 21.4 Pagotto takes the white flag by setting the fastest lap of the race, and he has been absolutely in control all the race long. Fantastic performance. He just needs to bring the car home, and that should be it for him. What can we say, Austin? Italians seem to be having found a very good hunting ground here on the iGPFun, but today, you know, they could have had more, my fellow citizens, but they had some fisticuffs in turn 1, and this opened the door for Thiago Marteau to finish a fantastic second. Alex Dunn, after a great comeback, is in third, and what can we see about Katie Height and Stuart Mill, Max Giacchino? Fantastic race for them as well.
The entire top 10 had a very fantastic race. We have some drivers that are up in double digits in overtaking. Johan Bergersen, he's at the end of 10th place. Dave Martin had a fantastic race. Stuart Millen, fantastic race to get up there into top 5. But the man who has made no overtakes today, he did the most important part, put it up on pole and lead every lap. It's a grand slam by Gianfranco Pagotto. He just needs to keep that fastest lap.
Yeah, and he did some weaving on the start-finish line, so he did a 21.42 instead of 41, which was the record. Marteau second, fantastic stuff for him. Let's see, here comes Alex Dunn, who has been slowing down a bit in the last few laps, of course, understandably. Let's see if we... Oh! And,
well, I think that just shows his frustration with that race.
I mean, either that or, you know, I finished almost 30 hours of continuous racing, so, you know...
This is true.
Let's
I want to go to bed. I think this is the I want to go to bed moment.
Fight for ninth. Fernando Núñez Correas and Johan Birgersson are having the last few fireworks of this race. Let's head to the chopper. I think the driver from Spain will be able to keep the position.
A little bit of a wiggle from Johan. It looks like he wanted to send it in, but I think he's just going to be happy with that 10th place finish. We got a good fight behind it for 11th, though. Clark Williams got a great run. It's going to be at the line. Clark Williams going to take him from that last corner off the exit. What a move by Clark right there.
Great stuff. And we have the final few drivers coming home. Lackner. And I think after Francesco Meola, we will be done and dusted, and that is exactly correct. Just as our race leader finishes his parade lap and heads diligently into pit road. So what a fantastic race we had here in beautiful Zolder, where the Italian national cycling team won the World Championship in 2002 on the racetrack itself. What a fantastic day. But Jim Oxon is not in the commentary box with us. But here we go with the final race results for this round 6 of this iGPFun Championship presented by the Virtual Racing School. Your race winner, Gianfranco Pagotto, he finishes almost 13 seconds ahead of Thiago Marteau in second place. Alex Dunn is a good third after a nice comeback. Katie Height and Stuart Milne complete top 5 in front of Max Giacchino, Dave Martin, Przemysław Pieniazek, a very eventful race for the driver from Poland, Fernando Correas and Johan Birgersson round up your top 10. Clark Williams in 11th, just pipping Andy Flint on the start-finish straight, Ben White, Zoltan Zomotor, Antonio Teyes, Lucas Lackner, Francesco Meola, what could have been for him, and Clemens Punzengruber in 18th place. 19th was Alex Hopkins, and 20th was a very, I would say, I cannot find the word, strange performance from Sam Ermer. Max Bartolotta, he was involved as well in that first lap contact, only 21st, one lap down. Rod McGuire and Will McIntyre, then Jota Gonzalez, Chuck Mauro, Zach Bison, Luca Varani, he was the innocent victim of a lap 1 first chicane crash, and Thomas Bonacina finishes in 28th spot. 29th was Vincenzo Carchedi, and 30th was Felipe Dantas. Lucas Maruk 31st in front of Ito San, see, Austin, it's all your fault. Koji Ito. Dear. Sean Barnett 33rd, 34th was Nick Carty, 35th was Nick Aronson, Antonio Rusevski finished in 36th, Patrick Rowlands was 37th, and the Canadian Adam Talsma is 38th. Dirk Provili from the Netherlands in 39th, and the top 40 is rounded up by Alex Roggenbuch. Then 41st was Russell Kirkwood, 42nd spot for Reed Dennis, and 43rd was Andrew Morris, 44th for James Tullis, 45th for Richard Van Veen, then Martin Devine, Steve Rubens, and Wojtek Potoszek in 48th spot. And then we have the other Polish driver of Bartosz Krelecki, too bad because he had a fantastic showing last week, and in the weeks before that. Flavio Dantas in 50th place, Michal Potoszek in 51st, Jay Elliott, the man with no first name, or very short first name, in 52nd position in front of Gavin Petty, Rodrigo Capelletto from Brazil, and rounding up your 55 car grid was the South African Daryl Govender. Austin, what a fantastic race, and as you were saying, now we have the streets of Detroit waiting for us in 1 week's time. But maybe
next week
we can have sorry Austin, I don't want to cut you off, but I didn't realize we had someone waiting for the interview, so even if we are a bit short on time, I think we can get one driver.
Yeah, I got Alex Dunn standing by with us, and Alex, after a long, day, or at this point 2 days of driving about 27 hours in front of your sim, how was this race for you, and how are you feeling?
I think today probably wasn't one of my best performances. I've just finished the Daytona 24 hours with about 3 hours of sleep, so I think I'm quite tired, and yeah, today I didn't perform my best, but I think P3 is still a pretty strong result.
Yeah, P3 after a very unfortunate incident in the chicane dropped you down a couple spots, but you managed to fight yourself back up into third with a good recovery drive, a few fastest laps here and there. Walk us through making it through this grid and getting it back up onto the podium.
Yeah, well, I made a mistake, which was totally my fault on lap 1, and then I dropped down to P6, and I knew that there was going to be a few incidents because there's quite big curbs here and it's very easy to make a mistake. So I just tried to stay calm, and I slowly picked my way back up to third, and I think third was the best I could do today, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure sports are happy with another podium for you here in the IGP Fun series. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
My mom and my dad and everyone supporting me on the stream, and everyone in 3D Rap and Lorenzo Del Rio.
Awesome, man. You have yourself a great afternoon and a great rest, because I'm pretty sure you earned it.
Thank you.
And over to Marco, who has some closing thoughts.
Yes, another fantastic race. Zolder is always a track that we can expect to have some drama in. But all things considered, it was pretty nice after the inevitable first lap calamities. Of course, we expect a lot out of this championship because it has set such high standards over the seasons that even a crash or two seems strange. But no matter what, it was a great showing. Once again, we had 60 cars in a 1 minute and 20 seconds lap, so that was not easy to do. And of course, the toughest test of the season for these drivers, not only in terms of speed, but also in terms of being nice and clean, will be next week on the streets of Belle-Isle. Do not forget, we have a lot of stuff coming up for you tonight, including in just a few hours here on Apex Racing TV. We are going to have the Colorado Karting Tour Round 4 from Atlanta. That's going to be at 1:55 GMT, or to be more precise, 8:55 Eastern. And then tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening for you guys in America, is going to be the Rikmotec Classic Sprint Series. That's going to be at 1 GMT or 7 PM Eastern. And also we have the World Karting Association AMAX Esports Winter Series Round 2. That's going to be also at 7 PM Eastern Time on Tuesday. American Tuesday, European Wednesday. Then of course the rest of our shows with the ARLTC from Sonoma, the Pizza Box Championship in Italian, and then the Radical Championship, and a lot of other stuff then coming back, of course, to round up the proceedings for the week on Sunday at 21:25 GMT from Belle-Isle with the iGPFun-F3 VRS Racing Series. Austin, take it away.
Thank you everyone for joining us here on the iGP Fun Formula 3 series presented by Virtual Racing School. I've been joined by Marco Barbonera. I'm Austin Knight. We'll see you next week at Detroit, and y'all have a good night.